Hello and welcome back to Reason News. NATO has agreed to a historic and unprecedented increase in defense spending at what leaders are calling a historic summit in The Hague. The alliance's 32 member states have committed to ramping up their defense budgets to 5% of gross domestic product by 2035, a move hailed by US President Donald Trump as a monumental win and described by Secretary General Mark Rutte as transformational. The summit in The Hague was convened against a backdrop of rising security threats, including the ongoing war in Ukraine, heightened tensions with Russia, and instability in the Middle East. Secretary General Mark Rutte opened the session by acknowledging the United States' long-standing role as NATO's backbone and commending President Trump for his persistent calls for greater European burden sharing. After intense negotiations, NATO leaders have agreed to a new target. Each member state will dedicate 5% of its GDP to defense and security-related expenditure by 2035. This includes a core commitment of 3.5% to direct military spending, with an additional 1.5% for broader security investments, such as infrastructure, innovation, and civil preparedness. The agreement represents a dramatic escalation from the previous 2% target set in 2014, which many allies had struggled to meet. Now, annual plans and progress reviews will be required, with a major assessment set for 2029, just after the next US presidential election. President Trump, who has made increased European defense spending a cornerstone of his foreign policy, celebrated the agreement as a fantastic and monumental win for the United States and the alliance. Trump also signed a final declaration reaffirming the US commitment to NATO's collective defense, Article 5, assuring allies of America's ironclad support, a move welcomed by European leaders wary of previous suggestions that Washington might withhold protection from underspending allies. Here's a video from BBC News.
But the story of the day in terms of the United States is that President Trump has rejected a leaked US intelligence report. And that report has cast doubt over the success of America's strikes on Iran. Speaking alongside the Secretary General Mark Rutte, we heard from Donald Trump, who told reporters that Tehran's nuclear program had been put back decades. He described the scenes at the sites as virtual obliteration. Have a listen.
We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black, the trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite, so that, you know, the fire goes right over it. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because we acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it.
Well, we have been hearing in the last hour from Rafael Grossi. He's the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA. And what he said is that his team was in contact with the Iranian regime to arrange a further inspection of nuclear sites as soon as possible.
I had received a letter from the Iranian foreign minister saying that they had taken protective measures already. They did not get into details into what that meant, but clearly that was the implicit meaning of that. So we can imagine that this material is there. So for that to confirm, for the whole situation to evaluate, we need to return. Of course, we have to recognize that there was a war, there was military action until yesterday. So there is, of course, common sense and dignity that we need to respect. But at the same time, we have said we need to return.
The summit was officially opened by the Secretary General Mark Rutte, who said that world leaders would need to make what he called historic and transformational decisions in order to make the alliance more strong, fairer, and he also said more lethal. Have a listen.
We meet at a dangerous moment for our 1 billion citizens. Russia's war against Ukraine rages on. An assertive grouping of adversaries seeks to divide and challenge us. There's war in the Middle East, terrorism poses a persistent threat, and new technologies bring opportunities, but also many serious security challenges. In the face of this, we stand together, united in NATO, the most powerful defensive alliance in world history. History has shown that North America and Europe working together is a winning combination. Our adversaries know this. Our enduring commitment to Article 5, that an attack on one is an attack on all, sends a powerful message. In this meeting, we will take historic, transformational decisions to make our people safer through a stronger, fairer and more lethal NATO. To make NATO stronger, we have a concrete plan for all allies to spend 5% of GDP on defense. It will go towards core defense as well as defense and security-related investment.
While the agreement was broadly welcomed, not all allies are equally enthusiastic. Spain, Belgium and Slovakia have expressed concerns about meeting the ambitious 5% target. Spain's Economy Minister Carlos Copo said Madrid is making a substantial effort and will aim for 2.1%, arguing that the debate over the percentage is misdirected. Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever acknowledged the challenge but called the 3.5% core target feasible within a decade. The UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer pledged to reach at least 4.1% by 2027. The new 5% target covers both traditional defence spending, such as personnel, equipment and readiness, and broader security investments. These include critical infrastructure, civil resilience, cyber defense, and innovation to strengthen the alliance's industrial base. NATO officials note that this approach reflects the increasing complex nature of modern threats, from hybrid warfare to cyber attacks, and the need for rapid technological adaptation. The decision comes amid growing anxiety over Russia's military posture following its 2022 invasion of Ukraine and continued aggression on NATO's eastern flank. The summit's communique highlights Russia as the principal source of regional instability and terror and reiterates the alliance's unwavering commitment to Ukraine's defense. Recent US airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities and ongoing instability in the Middle East have further underscored the need for robust, collective defense capabilities. Committing 5% of GDP to defense represents hundreds of billions of dollars in additional annual expenditure across the alliance. While some leaders argued that this is necessary to ensure security in a dangerous world, others warn of tough trade-offs with domestic priorities such as health, education, and welfare. Defense industry leaders are already preparing for a surge in demand, while economists debate the long-term sustainability and impact on national budgets. Member states are required to submit annual plans demonstrating credible progress toward the target, with the first major review scheduled for 2029. NATO's leadership has stressed that accountability will be key and that failure to meet targets could have political and strategic consequences. Some countries are still working to fulfill the previous 2% pledge, raising questions about how quickly and effectively the new goals can be met. Analysts describe the summit as a turning point for NATO, signaling a new era of transatlantic solidarity and deterrence. By committing to unprecedented levels of defense investment, the alliance aims to send a clear message to adversaries and reassure member states of its resolve. However, the challenge of maintaining unity amid differing national interests and economic pressures remains significant. NATO's agreement to a massive spike in defense spending marks a historic shift in the alliance's posture and priorities. With member states pledging to reach 5% of GDP by 2035, the summit in The Hague has set the stage for a new era of collective security, one shaped by shared responsibility, strategic investment, and transatlantic partnership. As the alliance adapts to a changing world, the coming years will test its ability to deliver on these ambitious commitments and safeguard peace for generations to come. We will continue to bring you updates and expert analysis as the story develops. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay informed, updated, and curious.